Hey everyone, welcome back to Holy Hype. My name is Stav and I'm your host. And today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics of all time, but with a little twist. We're going to be talking about God and nature. But before we get started on this topic, I wanted to let you guys know that I created a Holy Hype Patreon page and we already have a few members in that group. And I'm really excited about it for a few reasons. First of all, we're going to be doing monthly Zoom meetings together, either as a book club or a Bible study or studying a certain topic together, or we can just do like a Q&A chat kind of thing, whatever the patrons want. We're going to be doing that every month. So if you get a Patreon membership and support Holy Hype, you'll get access to that, as well as a group chat that we have going where we can just chat throughout the day. You can share your prayer requests or what you're learning about or any questions or advice, anything. So we've already started that, and it's really exciting to create this group of people who just want to dive deeper into the Word and learn more about the way of Jesus and just grow together. So if you enjoy these episodes and you want to support my work here at Holy Hype, that is a great way to do it. It's a few dollars a month, and you get to be part of that community. So I wanted to let you guys know about that. The link is in the description of this video if you're watching it on YouTube, and it's all over my social medias. So it's just patreon.com/holyhype if you want to help support what I'm doing here. But today's topic is going to be all about God and nature. And what sparked this topic idea in my head is a show I was watching the other night. So my husband and I watched this show called Our Planet 2. And it's one of those great David Attenborough nature shows. And we just love David Attenborough. First of all, he has the most soothing voice of anybody I've ever heard. And oftentimes, like, if we can't go to sleep, we'll put on David Attenborough and his voice just lulls you. It's beautiful. But also, those shows are just produced really well. They have gorgeous imagery and videos. It's just amazing. So I've always loved watching nature shows. I used to watch them with my dad all the time. Like, I'd come into the living room at night and that's what we would watch. We'd watch nature shows. And so many times I remember watching them and, the lion goes after the gazelle. And I remember being so sad about it. And my dad would always tell me, the lion has to eat too. And even though I know that, I still get sad about it. Like the little otter being chased by the seal. It just makes me sad, And I think that that's for a reason, which we're going to talk about. But as I was watching this nature show the other day with my husband, it was showing these spinner dolphins. And I don't know if you've ever seen spinner dolphins, but they just like jump into the air and spin and then fall back in the water. And I was watching that and I'm like, why? I mean, I'm sure there's a reason they do that. But it also just looks amazing when you have dozens or hundreds of these spinner dolphins all together, jumping out of the water and spinning and going back down in the water. It's just amazing and beautiful. And there are so many things in our world that are amazing and beautiful that we can just marvel at. And I was thinking, like, why would God make this thing that I never knew about until I was 36 years old? Like, for what purpose? And I think that there are so many things that he creates that we've never even seen, and that he just delights in creating things. And I think the same applies to space. I love space. Obviously, I love science. You could probably tell that. I love space, I love nature, I love animals, but space has always been something that just really fascinated me. And I don't know if you guys are following this whole Webb telescope thing, but it's a telescope that's out in space, and it's sending back these incredible pictures. Sort of like the Hubble telescope, but it's an upgraded version of that, and it's actually taking pictures of some of the same things and regions that Hubble took pictures of, but these ones are much, much better because now we have more advanced technology. And it's just really amazing to see. Like, there's one picture where they took a picture of part of the universe that is like the size of a grain of rice if you hold it out, okay? And they took that little snippet, a picture of that much space, and they enhanced it, and you can see, I don't know how many, thousands, hundreds or thousands of galaxies, which in themselves contain solar systems with planets and stars and it's just incredible how big the universe is. And when I think about that, I wonder, will we ever see? I mean, we won't ever see most of what's out there, but God created it because he can, and he's creative. And he's given that to us as part of our being made in his image. We love to create. We love to create things out of other things. It's just part of who we are, and it's part of who he is. And when I think about God and nature, I think that he just delights in his creation, including us. I mean, I'm sure many times he's disappointed in us because we are flawed. But there's so many things he created that I think he just marvels at, like the spinner dolphins and the lanternfish that we never see. And all those little weird fish at the bottom of the ocean that we will find one of them that no one's ever seen before, and we just marvel at it because it's amazing. But God created it, and he knows it's there. Another thing that I was thinking is that we as well, like God can marvel at creation, and I'm sure that he enjoys it. Not that he marvels at it in a way that he can't believe that it exists because he created it. Sorry. But we can also be in awe of and marvel at creation. And sometimes when I'm out with my dogs, I'll just be looking around like, wow, these trees are so amazing how they can form from this tiny little seed into this gigantic tree. And then I look down at my dogs and they're just sniffing the dirt. And I don't think that they marvel. Animals cannot, like creation cannot marvel at itself. But humans can marvel at creation. Like we're the only creatures out here that can look around and be in awe because God has given us the ability to see him in nature. Let's go to that verse. Oh my goodness, where is it? I wrote down Romans 1:20 in my notes, and I don't remember what that is, but we're going to go look at it right now because maybe it's relevant. All right, Romans, it's in the New Testament if you're kind of new to the Bible. 1:20. Yes, okay, this is the one that I was thinking of, which I guess is why I had written it down. For his invisible attributes, namely his eternal power and divine nature, have been clearly perceived ever since the creation of the world in the things that have been made. So God's invisible attributes are seen through his creation. And I've always believed in God. So I don't know, like it's hard for me to believe that there's anybody out there that can look out into the world, into the universe, into space, into the deep ocean, and say there's no God. I think that's a proverb. Oh, I don't know which one it is, but it says, "The fool says in his heart, there is no God." And I can't understand how somebody would be able to look out and see what's around us and say there's no God. I just don't get it. Every time I see something amazing in nature, I just marvel at the creator. And I remember reading, I keep looking outside because there's trees outside. So nature, trees, they're right there. I read something saying how trees lift up their arms in worship of the Lord. It's just everywhere. Like God is everywhere, and you can see him if you just open your eyes. His creation just screams about who he is. And I wonder if God created certain things to give us a framework for who he is. For example, we read in the Bible, whenever someone is trying to express what God, like being in God's presence is like, it's like a bright light. It's like the sun. It's this bright glory that we can't explain with words, but God gave us the sun so that we can explain a part of his being, which is really, like, that blows my mind. It's amazing. And thunder, when God's voice is heard, sometimes it's described as like a wind or a thunder. Like we have all these examples in nature that point us back to who God is and what he is like. Because God is so big and great and otherworldly because he created this world. So he's not of this world, but he's just so different. And the only way that we can describe or understand him, the only language we can use is language we know. So I think that he created certain things to give us a framework to understand part of who he is. And I say part because I don't think we can ever understand all of who God is. I think he's like an iceberg where we see and know about this little piece of it. But our human minds just can't comprehend what is under the water, and the rest of that iceberg that's under the water, we just can't get it because our minds are too small. It's like an ant trying to understand who I am and what I'm like and what it's like to have a personality and to be creative and to know my creator. It's just too big. God is too big to understand. And I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think that it's amazing. And even though he's written a book for us that we can read, there's still so much more to him that we can't possibly comprehend. So, another thing about nature that I've been noticing lately, and I'm not old. I'm not saying I'm old, okay? I'm 36. I know I'm not old, and I think that every year is a blessing. So I'm not going to be one of those people who doesn't tell people their age, because I think that every year is a blessing, and we shouldn't be ashamed of growing older because so many people don't get to. But as I get older, I realize these things about the world and its nature and the fallen nature of creation. And I have an example for you guys. So my husband and I hunt deer in the fall, and this is not something I grew up doing by any means. I grew up in the city. I barely had a front yard. Now I basically live in the woods, but totally different upbringing from where I am now. But I hunt deer in the fall now. And I was never against hunting. I just didn't really know about it. I didn't know it was an option. So I met my husband and he taught me about hunting because he was a bow hunter and I thought that that was super interesting. So he taught me how to hunt, and every fall now we hunt. It's just part of our seasonal routine. And so this last fall, so far I've harvested 3 deer in a few years. I can't remember which exact year I started hunting, like actually hunting and not just watching him do it. But I've harvested 3 deer total, and all 3 were with a bow. And this last one, I mean, every time I cry because I love animals. If you have grown up knowing me, if you know anything about me, or you've spent any time with me, you'll probably know that I love animals. They hold a special place in my heart. I have my 2 dogs sleeping next to me right now. I just adore them. But so I understand that hunting is a necessary part of our lives. If I eat meat, so if I don't harvest an animal, someone else does so that I can eat it. There's always death that has to sustain life. Something has to die so that something else can live. You see it in the nature shows with David Attenborough, and you see it in our own lives. Even if you just go to the grocery store, someone had to butcher an animal for you. They had to kill an animal so that you can eat it. And so hunting just puts me more in that loop. It cuts out the middleman, and it gives me a deeper understanding and appreciation for where my food comes. This is not a podcast about hunting. Maybe I'll do another episode about that if you guys want. But there's a story here, so I wanted to give you a little bit of background on my hunting experience. So this past fall, it was actually opening day of deer season. So it was October 2023. And I was out there hunting on my own with my bow. And I harvested a doe. And when I was waiting for my husband to come bring the 4-wheeler, because he was in another part of the woods, I called him when I shot the doe, and he was going to bring the 4-wheeler so that we could bring it home. And so as he went to get the 4-wheeler, I was just standing. I wasn't standing. I knelt down near the deer, and I always thank God for any animal we harvest, whether it's my husband or me, which I don't do when I go to the grocery store. So that's just another, it makes me appreciate my food more, and it makes me appreciate that life more. So I was kneeling over this doe and just thanking God for it. And then this sadness hit me because it feels wrong. It feels wrong to have to kill another animal to sustain my own life and to feed my family. And in that moment, I was crying and I was just thinking about that because creation is so broken. We were meant to walk in the garden with the animals and to walk with the Lord. And Adam and Eve's sin broke that perfection because they chose their own pride and greed over walking with the Lord, as we all do. So many times in our day-to-day lives, we reject God for our own thing. So it's not to say that I wouldn't have done that if I was in the garden, but it caused this brokenness in creation where now we have to kill things in order to sustain ourselves. And that's why it feels so hard for me, I think, because in my soul, I can feel that it's not supposed to be that way. It's not natural. It's not normal for us to kill other things in terms of how we were created originally. Now, the earth and creation was broken after the fall of man, and it will eventually be restored. But right now we're in that in-between period where creation has also been broken. It's not just the sin of man has caused a rift between us and God that has been thankfully repaired by Jesus if we accept that. But creation has also been broken into something that it was not originally created to be. And in the end, it says the lion will lie with the lamb. So we know that creation will be restored. But in the meantime, we're living in this in-between period where things have to die. The lion has to eat the little baby zebra that can't get away, and it just breaks our hearts because it's not the way that things were supposed to be. And I think that deep down, we know that, and that's why we feel that sadness. So we're going to look in Genesis now. This is in Genesis chapter 1. So this is the very beginning, the creation. When God creates the world, he creates the animals, and he creates man and woman. So this is Genesis 1:28. Now let's go to 27. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. And God blessed them. And God said to them, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the heavens and over every living thing that moves on the earth. And God said, behold, I've given you every plant yielding seed that is on the face of the earth, and every tree with seed in its fruit. You shall have them for food. So we were meant to eat plants. And to every beast of the earth, and to every bird of the heavens, and to everything that creeps on the earth, everything that has the breath of life, I have given every green plant for food. And it was so. And God saw that everything he had made, God saw everything that he made, and behold, it was very good. So that was the 6th day. So God creates plants, animals, and he's saying that the animals are going to eat the plants. That was the original design. Of course, then Adam and Eve fall, and creation has to deal with the consequences of that. And one of those things is that we now have to go out and kill animals for food, and the animals also kill each other for food. And I think that that's why I feel so sad watching those nature shows, because something deep down inside me knows that that's not how things were supposed to be. Otherwise, it wouldn't feel sad, right? I wouldn't have an awareness that it's sad. And I think even someone who's kind of macho watching those shows, you watch this little baby gazelle get eaten by a lion and you feel bad, right? Unless maybe you have no conscience, and that's another problem. But I think that something deep down inside us just feels that creation is a little bit off, that the world's a little bit off, and nature's a little bit off. And that's because that's not how it was originally intended to be. It's currently broken. But the good news is that it's going to be fixed. Okay, so now we're going to go to Genesis 2:18, and we're going to read what we were supposed to do with these animals. Then the Lord God said, it is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him a helper fit for him. Now out of the ground the Lord God had formed every beast of the field and every bird of the heavens, and brought them to the man to see what he would call them. And whatever the man called every living creature, that was its name. The man gave names to all livestock, and to the birds of the heavens, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found a helper fit for him. And then God creates Eve as the solution to the world's first problem, right? Because every other time God creates something, he says, it's very good, it's good, it's very good. And he creates man and says it is not good that man should be alone. So Eve was the solution to the first not good thing. So women, we are a gift, right? We're supposed to be helpers and partners. So Adam is naming all the animals. God brings him all the animals, and Adam names them. So there's a good relationship going on between man and the animals, and it seems like the animals themselves. So now, currently, we're in this in-between stage where creation is still kind of broken. But what's going to happen at the end? We're going to go to Isaiah chapter 11. And this chapter is foretelling what's going to come when Jesus reigns at the very end. So what is it going to be like when Jesus comes back and we are in the new heavens and the new earth? I love this. I'm going to go to verse 6. So Isaiah 11:6, because this is where it starts talking about the animals. The wolf shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the young goat, and the calf and the lion and the fattened calf together, and a little child shall lead them. I love that imagery. The cow and the bear shall graze, their young shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox. The nursing child shall play over the hole of the cobra, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the adder's den. I don't know what an adder is. If I had a different translation, I could look it up. They shall not hurt or destroy in all my holy mountain. Oops, I skipped ahead a little bit. For the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord as the waters cover the sea. And then it goes on. But it's basically showing us the earth restored to its original intended creation, what it was supposed to be like, this peace that existed in creation. And so the good news is I'm not going to have to watch Animal Planet for all eternity watching these poor little animals get eaten, because it still makes me sad. I know that the predator has to eat. I know that I have to eat, but it still makes me sad. So thankfully there's good news. Creation will be restored. And what did it say? It said all will know, all will have the knowledge of God. Hold on, I got to read it again because I just love that part. For the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord. What? The knowledge of the Lord. Let's just think about what that means as we close out this episode, and maybe we'll talk about that in a future episode. But I hope you guys enjoyed this little chat about creation and nature, and just get out there and marvel. There's so much beauty around us, and sometimes I think we get so caught up in our tasks and what we have to do, and I gotta go here, and I gotta take the kids here, and we forget to just look around and just marvel. Trees are amazing. This little thing turns into this gigantic tree. All right, that's it, guys. I hope you stay blessed, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.